Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating transformation happening right now on the roads of Africa's largest economy. I mean, if you've ever driven in Nigeria, you know firsthand that a simple, everyday commute can instantly turn into a frustrating gauntlet of manual checks, friction, and endless delays. But what if we could digitize all of that? Today, we're unpacking the source material behind a massive proposed modernization of Nigeria's road safety and enforcement ecosystem. It's driven by something called the Driver Compliance Infrastructure, or DCI for short. Basically, this is all about turning an analog nightmare into a seamless digital highway. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's look at our roadmap for today. We'll be moving from the broken highway system to the DCI core concept, how the integration actually works, transforming enforcement, revenue, and rollout, and finally, a brand new mobility vision.
Section 1, the broken highway system.
To really grasp the genius of this solution, we first have to understand just how agonizing the current analog system actually is. We've all been there, right? Currently, a simple traffic stop often devolves into a 10-minute debate on the side of the road while someone squints at your faded vehicle papers. Because officers are forced to manually verify a driver's license, insurance, and roadworthiness, the process is painfully slow, entirely inconsistent, and honestly almost impossible to audit. And that leads directly to the second major pain point, driver harassment. Because drivers often don't know their actual compliance status and can't easily prove it on the spot, they become incredibly vulnerable to arbitrary stops and profiling. Why is it so hard to prove? Well, it's because of fragmented records. Right now, compliance data is scattered all over the place, across licensing authorities, vehicle registries, private insurance providers, and various state agencies. There is literally zero unified view. And ultimately, relying on these paper-based, manual systems leads to massive government revenue leakage because of inefficient collections and poor tracking.
Section 2, the DCI core concept.
So, the crucial point here really comes down to one single central question. Is this driver compliant right now? Everything in the current system makes answering that question a highly subjective debate on the side of the road, but the entire DCI platform is built to answer this exact question instantly, without any debate, in real time.
That brings us to the formal definition of the Driver Compliance Infrastructure. DCI is a centralized digital compliance verification system. What it actually does is continuously validate driver records in the background to produce a real-time compliance status, entirely replacing the need for those manual, paper-based inspections. You can think of it as a single, verified compliance profile for every single driver and vehicle. This is absolutely huge because it protects drivers from profiling, while at the same time vastly improving transparency for the state.
And this brilliantly illustrates the philosophical shift at the very heart of DCI. You see, the old system relies heavily on reactive enforcement, meaning officers literally stand by the road trying to manually detect violations after they've already happened. DCI, on the other hand, shifts the entire nation toward proactive verification. By continuously checking data digitally, it verifies compliance before problems ever even occur on the road. It's a massive competitive advantage over the status quo.
Section 3, how the integration works.
So how do we actually pull this off? Here is the 4-step integrated solution that makes it all possible. Step 1 is driver onboarding, where the driver simply inputs their national ID, license, and vehicle details. Step 2 is where the magic really happens, the verification engine. The system uses an API layer that seamlessly connects licensing authorities, vehicle registries, and insurance providers to sync all that data together. Then, Step 3 takes that synced data and calculates a real-time compliance score. And finally, Step 4 shifts the system from being a pure enforcement tool into a genuinely helpful tool for the user through driver notifications. The app actually alerts you before things expire, essentially acting as your own personal compliance assistant.
Let's look a little bit deeper at Step 2, that verification engine. The source material notes that this engine checks two very distinct types of data. First, there's hard data. This is your source-verified official information that's constantly synchronized directly from government and corporate databases. Think of your driver's license, your vehicle registration, and your insurance status. But it also integrates soft data. These are safety-related items, like fire extinguisher validity, tint permits, and tire information, which can be uploaded by the driver and then verified through accredited partners.
All of that hard and soft data then gets crunched together to produce a real-time compliance score output. The platform calculates this based on document validity, expiry dates, outstanding violations, and fine payment history. It distills everything into 3 super simple statuses: a green check for compliant, a yellow triangle for warning, and a red X for non-compliant.
By proactively helping keep drivers in the green, the DCI platform effectively transforms from a strict policing mechanism into a personal compliance assistant.
Section 4. Transforming enforcement.
Now, what's really interesting here is the stark contrast in the actual roadside experience. The old manual stop is subjective, it relies on paper, often involves cash fines, and has a very high potential for disputes. The DCI digital stop completely changes this dynamic. An officer just enters a plate number or driver ID into their app and instantly gets a status. If there's a violation, a digital ticket is automatically generated with payment instructions via an app or USSD, meaning absolutely no cash handling required. But the true game changer here is the transparency layer. Under DCI, both the officer and the driver see the exact same status and the exact same reason on their respective screens. This shared truth pretty much eliminates disputes and any opportunities for manipulation entirely.
Section 5. Revenue and rollout. Of course, a system this large needs a way to sustain itself, and it relies on a really robust, multi-tiered business model featuring 6 distinct revenue streams. The foundational layer, Stream 1, is a small compliance verification fee of about 2,000 to 2,500 naira annually per driver. This funds the identity verification, data synchronization, and database access costs. But it doesn't stop there. DCI takes transaction commissions on document renewals, processing fees on fine payments, and even marketplace commissions when drivers buy safety gear like tires or extinguishers right through the app. They also plan to charge subscription fees to logistics and ride-hailing companies for fleet management and secure SaaS licensing agreements with the government.
To really understand the scale of just that first foundational revenue stream, get a load of this number: 25 billion naira. According to the source projections, assuming a conservative base of 10 million drivers paying that 2,500 naira annual fee, DCI creates 25 billion naira in base annual revenue alone. And remember, that is before you even count a single fine processed, a single document renewed, or any marketplace activity at all. The financial scale of digitizing this infrastructure is just staggering.
Let's move on and see how this actually builds out into the market. The go-to-market strategy rolls out in 3 strategic phases. Phase 1 targets the private sector first. We're talking logistics fleets, transport companies, and ride-hailing operators. The goal here is to prove the tech and build out those compliance data sets where commercial incentives are already really high. Phase 2 then moves to a state pilot, partnering with just one state government and its traffic agencies to demonstrate public sector value. Finally, Phase 3 is the national rollout, fully integrating with the Federal Road Safety Corps, national insurance providers, and vehicle registries to become the definitive national compliance layer.
Section 6. A new mobility vision.
The thing you really have to take away from this is that DCI isn't just some digital ticket app. It is foundational mobility infrastructure. The long-term vision evolves DCI into a bedrock for a modern smart city. We are talking about creating a true national driver identity and digital vehicle records. Having this data centralized unlocks accurate insurance scoring. It allows for seamless automated tolling, powers commercial fleet intelligence, and ultimately helps create a completely cashless transport ecosystem across the entire nation.
And that brings us perfectly to their ultimate vision statement: to become Nigeria's trusted mobility infrastructure, providing a transparent, real-time compliance system that protects drivers, improves enforcement, and digitizes the nation's road transportation ecosystem. It's an incredibly ambitious plan derived from our source material today, fundamentally shifting how an entire nation moves. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to consider. If digitizing one single point of friction, a roadside traffic stop, can unlock billions in revenue, protect millions of citizens from harassment, and lay the very foundation for a cashless smart city ecosystem, what other massive, everyday inefficiencies in our world are just waiting for a digital highway of their own? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.